Because it's the only viable alternative. I mean, nobody, unless they all get together, unless all the Greens and the SNP and Labour and Lib Dems and all the independents, they all get together to, go up against the Tories in a rainbow coalition. I mean, we can't. I mean, these people are beyond corrupt, Sheila. And millions of people are suffering and dying at the hands of the Tories. It's just true. I'm on disability. They're threatening to take some of my money away from me. I've been through the work assessment program, and this is what they're going to bring. They're threatening to. How are we going to pay for these national insurance cuts or these tax cuts or whatever cuts they're bringing in? Once again, it's the poorest and most vulnerable and the disabled who are going to have to pay for it.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I've said to my friends, once we got Brexit over the line, which I didn't vote for, I never voted Tory, never would. Once we got that over the line, the next thing to go will be the NHS, because, it's lucrative.
And what about you, Eric, and your situation? Liverpool has its problems, doesn't it, still?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel, I'll be 70 in 2 years. I wouldn't like to see 80, I don't think, the way things are going. I've got to be honest. I live on my own, I've got my cats, but, I've got my own house and everything.
Good.
Got some savings, but I really fear for the future because price rises affect everybody, really. They don't
of course
affect
they
millions.
do. But you're 2 years off 70, so you are already in receipt of your state pension, are you?
Yeah, but I didn't get a works pension, so I get that, I get PIP, and that's about it, really. And I can manage on that, but, if things start going, getting really stupid and you're paying high prices for everything.
And do you own your house, or is it...
I do own the house, freehold, but, again, a compulsory purchase order could probably get me out. So that's a worry,
Is that in the offing?
No, but it could be any time within the next 10 years.
Why?
Well, they've already knocked down a lot of houses where I live in the streets.
Oh, hello, Sheila. Thank you. Yes, I mean, I'll just be voting to get the Tories out any which way because they're just so dreadful. I mean, this latest thing, Michelle Donnelly, it's just the latest scandal in this long, series of scandals and outrages. It's just beyond anything.
And have you worked out in your constituency what that means for your vote?
Well, I think it probably means voting Labour, but it's very difficult. I mean, this is a very strong Tory area. It's been Tory since whenever. There's always a large majority. I think Labour is usually the second.
I'm just having a look. Is the constituency called Northwich, yeah?
It's called Edisbury.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, I know.
I've never heard of Edisbury, and I used to live up that way.
It's the name of a local hill, actually, yes.
Edisbury election 2019, we'll find out.
It's next door to Tatton, so we're sort of
yes.
split between Tatton and Edisbury. Everybody's heard of Tatton, and nobody's ever heard of Edisbury.
Yes, big Conservative win for Edward Timpson, wasn't it? 30,000.
Yes, I think that was...
And you're right. Mind you, the Lib Dems, it was Labour just at 11,500 there or thereabouts. Lib Dems, almost 10,000. So there weren't... A bit of a fight there for the anti-Tory vote, isn't there?
Well, we had a very good MP in Antoinette Sambadge, but unfortunately Johnson got rid of her, like so many MPs he got rid of, simply because she wouldn't support leaving the EU. Quite rightly, in my view, actually, but that's long gone.
So you're going to... That's interesting because it's not a simple case of, in order to beat the Conservatives, I'm going to need to vote Lib Dem, or it could be Lib Dem or Labour for you, could it?
It could, and I just sort of... I mean, I'll be a tactical voter, because I think... the Lib Dems, they're okay, and I think they would be prepared to work with Labour, or Labour would work. I think Keir Starmer's a decent man. I think Ed Davey's a decent man. even though he got a bit tired with the post office, despite there having been 17 post office
ministers. Yeah.
But I mean, I think these are decent people, and I think and Ellie Rees and Rachel. I mean, they're clever people, but they're decent people.
Half the flipping Tories, the landed gentry, the multimillionaire establishment, they're landlords, right? So it's not a housing crisis, it's a housing racket that would make the mafia blush, just like all the other privatised industries. Now, if Labour came out tomorrow, Starmer came out tomorrow and said, right, when we get into government, the first 5 years we're going to do is we're going to renationalise our gas, our water and our electric and our trains. He would stroll into number 10.
Well,
if he said that we were going to rejoin the single market and the customs union, that'll be another vote winner. They're not dealing with the reality of the situation.
Well, on renationalisation of some of the utilities and stuff that you mentioned and services you mentioned, Keir Starmer's reason for not wading in and doing that on day one is he says it would just be too costly and isn't the priority.
No, there's a way of doing it. Yeah, I'm not the one to explain it because I'm not an economist, but there are very learned economists out there who say it doesn't have to cost the country that much, and also it would pay for itself within a few years because you'd end up keeping all the money that is currently going overseas to all the shareholders.
You think that would bring the growth?
Yes, that we would keep the money in house. Yeah, so we could plough. There's £72 billion in the last 30 years just from the water alone. England's the only country in the world that sold off its water. What kind of country sells off its own water? So we've had £70 billion in the last 30 years leave the exchequer, leave the country.
So even though Labour aren't offering several of the things you've mentioned there, they still have your vote. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, because it's the only viable alternative.